Thank you, and certainly good afternoon, Secretary Macrath.
Thank you.
I do take great pride in seeing all that you have accomplished, because we came into this House together beginning in January of 2001. And as I said to you, and you echoed when we met at my first meeting as the new chairman, thank you, of Children and Youth, wow, they have no idea what they did. They put us together again. So I hope that we will have the opportunity in the next 2 years to do some very good things. Therefore, I'd like to speak for my colleagues on the Children and Youth Committee, and questions are relative to I guess your old job, too, which is Children and Youth. You referenced in your opening remarks, and I'll talk as fast as I can so that I don't go over time, but you referenced the Task Force on Child Protection. And indeed, it generated, that report, which came out the end of November, has generated not only proposals, but I would say legislation. And Chairman Marsico, a chairman of Judiciary, and I have met, and we've generated a number of bills with our members in the House of Representatives, hoping to get them out of committee, send them to the full House and the Senate. However, aside from the philosophy which we share and agree and know that we can do better for our children, well, we always have to think that, so we do better.
Absolutely.
We also know that these proposals may or may not have cost associated with them. Let me preface, I have some questions if you could answer, because this is appropriations, but let me preface it by saying, in no means do I think that we don't do something that protects children because it costs money. I just need to account for it and understand it.
Absolutely.
So could you comment then on any potential cost concerns that you might have as the Secretary of DPW, if indeed we have a bill that will expand the definition of child abuse? I have several of the bills to ask.
Actually, Representative, and it's very good to see you too. We have done a matrix, and I believe you've met Kathy Utz, the acting Deputy Secretary for the Office of Children, Youth, and Families.
She has come before a committee, and you should know, done an excellent job.
Doesn't surprise me a bit. But Kathy has a matrix which has laid out a lot of the initiatives, and actually we do have dollar amounts. So rather than me talking off the cuff and not giving you specifics, Kathy was the policy director, and her shop has come up with those things, and I believe that would be extremely helpful for us to share with you.
That would be very helpful, and for the members of my committee, because we're talking about, in effect, expanding child line, and we are talking about expanding, just for those of you sitting here, the definition of perpetrators, and expanding the list of mandated reporters. And what does that do when we increase that? We may be saving children's lives, protecting more children, but we also have to plan for it so that we do that.
I think it's also important to note that when the task force was formed, at no time were they asked to look at financial considerations. Correct. So the report is in the best of all worlds, not taking into account any costs. These are some great things that we believe would be helpful. We do have to look at each piece of that and the costs associated with it.
And one of the things that I know we have talked about privately before a committee hearing, and is referenced in the task force report, and it's this idea, which I make a distinction between child abuse and reporting it, mandated reporters and so forth, but that child protection is really everyone in Pennsylvania, every adult in Pennsylvania. Absolutely. It is their responsibility, and they have a stake in it. And we have talked about the idea of DPW and providing better, more expansive, basic information and training resources. We know we will need it for mandated reporters. We know we need it for law enforcement, for those in our schools, but for the average person. Can you comment on that and where we are on training videos, online training modules that I have a great interest in, so that the average person, we could say, can help us in protecting children, and we get back to the idea that it is our business and we look after the children in our community with a better eye to understand what we're looking at.
Right, and we do have at least 2 contractors that I'm aware of who are providers who have mandatory reporter training. that they provide. All of our 67 counties also share the responsibility to get the word out about what the expectation is, what child abuse is, and how to report if you suspect abuse. So there's a lot of different moving parts going on. And when the laws were initially changed to deal with mandated reporters, they're really, everybody kind of got a piece of it. That may be something else for your committee to take a look at. Is there a better way to make sense of it, to ensure that it's happening? Because it really is all over the place.
And that's what we thought. We have started to take a look and would suggest to you, we were looking, some of the members talked about better, I'll call it printable resources that we would then have to disseminate in our district offices. And we would have a better understanding to incorporate in the many speeches that we do in the course of the year, and simply talk to people about it in general terms, not specific, here's the class for teachers who are mandated reporters or doctors, but how about if you're just the neighbor in the neighborhood, and what do you look for so that you have, I'll call it a practiced eye. But indeed, we get back to the old idea that children are our business, everybody's business.
Yes.
We need to see that they are raised to the best of the community's ability.
And I would say that's a great idea. Having been a state representative, you reach out to more people, see more people than anybody else. You have newsletters, you have many opportunities, town hall meetings, breakfasts, to share that information as a piece of what you do every day makes a whole lot of sense.
And we would like to work with you to coordinate that so that if it goes in the newsletters, members know, like, what are the key things to put in there. If we have some materials that we all agree on, the message is the same, whether it's in Bucks County or Erie County, and we're getting the message out.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.